Hello, welcome back. This is a bit of a different video today. I guess this would be day 8.5, I guess? Anyway, I wanted to make this video because I've been noticing some kind of traps I've been falling into while learning in the past several videos, and I'm sure you've noticed like the sporadic upload schedule and like how I'm choosing to tackle the objective for the day, and like how big some videos get, such as day 7, and it turns into a total nightmare. Yeah, and I'm in this for a long haul. I figure the goal of making like a first proper game and all that kind of stuff is going to take quite a while. And if I want to stick with it, it's important that I try making sure I do this in a healthy and sustainable way so that I don't get burnt out on it, and also so I am properly learning. So this video is kind of me musing on some things that I've been running into as a new game developer, and how my learning could be improved. Things I should be doing better and will be doing better, hopefully going into the future. So without further ado, here we go. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have fairly severe ADHD, and outside the common stuff like, it being difficult to keep my attention focused on a monotonous task for a while, there's a lot of other things that come with it that a lot of people don't really think about, such as planning projects out, initiating like tasks, like literally just starting something in the first place, and also navigating kind of the overwhelm that comes with uncharted waters, so to speak. And, all of this greatly affects my day-to-day life in innumerable ways. And outside of this channel, I have like work and friends and other hobbies and films I'm working on top of another game-related channel that hopefully you'll be hearing about soon. And one of the reasons I'm doing this whole kind of learning game development from scratch is, well, this entire undertaking is kind of exactly my Achilles heel. Just exactly perfectly the kind of thing I'm bad at. Maybe not bad at it, the exact kind of thing my brain rebels against, I should say. I've been wanting to make games for a long time, but when you don't have the money or time for school, and you have to pick everything up yourself, the endeavor of learning how to create games is super daunting and super challenging, to say the least. Trying to stay focused on a task that is a near constant stream of like confusion and like hitting a brick wall and not knowing where to get started, and well, look, I really mean it when I say that if I can manage to pull this together and do it, I truly mean anybody can do it. Because like I said, this is the exact kind of thing that my brain does not handle very well, and it's something very difficult for me to get a hold of. The only thing that would possibly make it worse is if I really didn't care. But I do. I do care about this process a lot, which is helping me keep going in spite of all the challenges. So that all being said, I'm having all these challenges with game development. Some of them are linked with my ADHD, some of them are because I'm just a new game developer and I don't know what I'm doing. So how do I make this entire whole process work for me? And, even if you don't have ADHD or anything like that, hopefully these things can be helpful to you too. I've been trying to think of ways recently to get this whole process to not be easier per se, but less of a... Yeah, maybe easier. Yeah, make it easier. Because I do like learning stuff, and I do like the challenge. It's just I need to be approaching it from a different perspective. So this is a list of like 3 things that I've been thinking about that I want to implement going forward into this whole game development learning journey to make the process easier for myself and make it make more sense, and also make it more tangible. And the first thing on my list, I'm reading on my screen, by the way, in case you keep seeing me look down. But the first thing on the list is I want to make sure I'm coming at this process from a place that I really care about, and also a place that I'm familiar with. So for me, when I think of what games that I want to make, they always seem like using the game as an interesting way to tell a story or like deliver an experience. And all the gameplay and all the systems in the game are all contributing to that singular goal. Like, I went to film school and I'm a writer and all that stuff, and like telling stories is the main reason I do a lot of things. So I'm working on this very first game, the little spooky cave game, that's supposed to be kind of like a little mini game, just literally make something and get us started. But one of the reasons I've been struggling so hard with it is because I haven't really done the work to make it interesting for myself. You might remember me a couple videos ago talking about like, what's our first game gonna be? And I briefly threw out a story hook of some kind that didn't really lead to anything, and that's a problem. Because if the story doesn't go anywhere, or it's only half-baked, well, what's the reason for me to continue on with the project? If like stories and experiences are like what drives me to make something, and that's not part of the thing I'm making, then it's like, what? Why should I care? And I know this whole learning process is building to a larger game that I truly am passionate about and want to make in the future. But this first game being a learning process that I have to trudge through in order to get to the game that I actually want to make is not a good reason for me. It's just not enough. Like, what does this game do for me? Why should I care about this game? And this brings me to, I think, one of my biggest pieces of advice for any creative out there is only make things that you care about and care about everything that you make. Don't waste your energy on things that you don't care at all for. But sometimes you do need to make something that maybe initially you don't have like a lot of passion for, but it's gotta be done. So how do you do that? You need to find a way to make it interesting for you. You need to find a way you put your own like personal stakes into it. What is it about this project that is calling to you in particular? And sometimes you have to change the project a little bit or make something up in order for you to get more on board with it. And if it gives you more motivation to do the thing, I mean, that's the entire point. You care about what you make. If you don't care about what you're making, then why? So, like I said, for me, I love creating stories and experiences. Currently, this game that I'm working on doesn't have any story or experience that interests me. So I want to spend time properly, like working out the story, what I want this game to say. And it could be something very simple, but that is work I need to do, properly sitting down and writing those things out. Like, where's the story going? Because the entire starting point of the game was like introducing a story hook and seeing where that thing takes you. And I think the story hook is really cool. I just need to develop it more. When I get that story and experience properly developed into something that I want to say, well, now I have a North Pole set in place. And from then on, suddenly my compass will start showing me how to get there. Obviously, I'm going to run into obstacles and I'll have to find a way to get around those, but I just need a point that I can use my compass to point to. Right now, my compass is spinning in all directions and it's crazy, y'all. I'm going nowhere, and I'm feeling it. I'm not good with analogies, but that's the idea. Now, the second thing here that I'm trying to stick to a lot more, and I did stick to this a little bit in the last video, is just tiny goals, tiny steps. Just little bit at a time. The entire point of this channel was to be extremely like more relaxed. It's not supposed to be a huge time commitment for me for each video, because I mean, I'm also having to edit all of this. So when it turns into a 4-hour recording that takes several days to edit down into something watchable like day 7, it's like, first of all, I think the video is cumbersome to get through, both from a editing and a viewing perspective, but also it's getting in the way of the main point of this entire channel, which is learning game development. And until I can, you know, have the money later on maybe to hire an editor to help me edit things down on the side so I don't have to worry about that, so I can focus on other things, well, I mean, I'll especially have to keep things more under control. That makes sense. Keep everything bite-sized. You know, I want to make sure I'm really like sticking to hour-long recording sessions and making sure I keep the goals extremely simple. And you know, sometimes a goal looks like it's going to be simple and it turns into a whole complicated thing. Like, I really did think getting the first person script in Unreal was going to take a lot less time than it did. Granted, a lot of that time was figuring out a very particular place I had to right click in order to make something happen, but still, it turned into a huge beast that I wasn't prepared for. And you know, those times do happen, but as soon as it starts turning into a whole entire thing in the future, I need to take a step back and just see, like, what is one thing I can pick out from this now expanded to-do list. Just pick that one thing out and work on that one thing, one little bit at a time, so it doesn't turn into a monster. Because at the end of the day, the whole entire project is made out of, a whole bunch and bunches and bunches of tiny little steps. Taking care of any one of them is going to bring me closer. Trying to take care of, like 15 or 20 at the same time and getting bogged down and having to take another week off because I'm just so exhausted from it is not helpful. You got to keep in control of the project. Don't let it buck you off. Remain in control. That's what I'm going to try to do, is take it easy, one thing at a time. So the final thing that I'm trying to implement going forward is just having a more manageable plan. And this kind of stems from the first point a little bit. Creating a starting area, well, like it seemed decent enough in my head, but in reality that goal is just super ambiguous and massively complicated. Instead it really pays to be extremely detailed about like the things. First of all, what is this thing supposed to do and how does it serve the game? And just work onwards from there. I never sat down and properly thought about the starting level for this game and what all was going to be in it and what it was going to look like and how I wanted it to serve the experience. And keep in mind, the story wasn't finished, so there was like no proper experience laid down for the starting level to serve. Like I said, it harkens back to the first point where I need to have my North Pole set in place so my compass can guide me there. But this also means making a list or a board of some kind of just all the things that I would need to make this, in this case, the starting area, all the things that I need to make this starting area work. Every little thing I can think of, down to like, I need to figure out how materials and textures work so I can literally make a path and just put textures and materials on everything. Like things like that. I had an idea in the back of my head for some text appearing on screen and then just having like a little first-person cutscene of sorts of you hopping over a fence and starting on the road to the cave. And none of these things I actually wrote down, and they were just loosely in the background and some amorphous blob in the ether without an actual plan. And when things are in such like a big nebulous amorphous cloud in my head, like it becomes nearly impossible to actually keep track of what I'm supposed to be doing next. Something that has been affecting a lot of my life recently that I'm trying to get better at. And what better way to practice that skill than working on a new game? I think I've said before, but watching like hours long, Unreal tutorials or whatever, it's not super helpful for me. That being said, Oliver Dive, I still very much appreciate the video, and I'm still going to be using it because it has a bunch of sections where I can find the tool or the thing that I'm working on. So I'm still using them. That being said, it's much easier for me to have like a particular goal in mind and figure out how to directly make that one thing work and then move on from there. Properly itemizing all the features and the functions that I want of an area or a section or an entire game and all that stuff, and figuring out each of those problems along the way instead of taking a big old course that gives me everything and then trying to apply all of that at the same time. Keeping things itemized, keeping things organized is going to make this whole learning process significantly easier. So these are some of the things that I'm going to be doing to make this learning process go easier for me personally, and hopefully it can be useful to some of y'all out there, even if you don't have ADHD or anything like that. I think it's, I don't know, it seems like simple advice and it seems straightforward. It's just another thing actually properly implementing it into the thing that you're working on. For me, the most important one, like I said, just making sure I actually, what is in this project for me outside of just like learning for another project down the road. Once I have that, suddenly a lot of other things, as it has happened in the past, a lot of other things just start falling into place. With any luck, these things will make this process significantly easier. Especially since like I said, I'm also taking on the work of editing all these videos myself. Until I can hire someone else to take care of the editing on my behalf, well, I'm gonna have to make it less tiresome and more streamlined for myself. Especially since I'm also doing other projects on the side, one of which hopefully y'all will see very soon on a different channel that I'm reviving. Keep looking forward to that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I will see y'all on day 9, this time with a plan. Catch y'all next time. Have a good week. Goodbye. That's the outro. That's what we're doing.